everybody, I have a super fun freebie for you today. This is a free printable download that matches my brand new paper line and product line that's coming out with Primo Marketing this summer CHA. It's called Romance Novel, and this is the only place you're going to be able to get these patterns and these embellishments for that paper line. And like I said, it's a free digi, so you'll just go to the Prima Facebook fan page and make sure you like them, and the download should be there on one of the earlier posts from this weekend. So all you do is you print it out, cut it out, and put it all together, and I'm going to show you how to make this really neat mini album cover. And you can see it looks like an old book page. It's really distressed, but it's perfectly smooth, so I'm going to show you how to do that. So what you're going to need is some chipboard, and we're just going to cover the back of this one so I don't have to cut out everything all over again. And I'm going to do a liner. So I've already printed out my cover. It comes like this. You just cut them both out, and I'm going to take this side and I'm going to glue it down to my chipboard like this. But before I do that, I want to distress my edges. So I'm going to take some Vintage Photo Distress Stain, and I'm just going to get the edges that are going to be showing really well. I want a nice dark stain on there. So I'm really staining that chipboard. And now I'm going to use some Claudine Helmuth Matte Multimedium. And I'm going to coat this really well. I'm going to do about 2 coats. And I'm also going to use this as my glue to glue down the pattern paper. But I have to do a coat to seal the chipboard first because it dries super fast. And then I'm going to do another coat that's a lot thicker, and that's going to glue down the paper. So sealing it just helps the glue from, or the medium from seeping in the second time when I try to glue down that paper. So now I'm working on the second coat, and I'm putting a nice thick coat. You really want it to be really, really thick on here when you're gluing paper down, because you want to glue down every little bit of the paper. If you don't glue it down all the way and you just take glue and you squiggle it on there, you're going to get waves in that paper, because some parts of the paper are going to be wetter than others, and when it dries, it's going to dry unevenly, and it's not going to look right. So you want a nice thick coat. I'm just making sure I've got the whole thing covered and that it all stays wet, because I'm about to stick my paper down on there. Alright, so it's all nice and thickly coated, so I'm going to stick my paper down, and I'm going to hold it down. I'm going to smooth it all out, make sure every little edge is getting glued down. Sometimes if you don't do it right the first time, you can't lift it back up without ruining the paper, so you want to make sure you really smooth it out on there. Almost ready. Alright, so I've got it all glued down. Now I'm going to do another coat of the matte medium, and this is going to give it that super smooth finish that makes it look like an old book page. So just a thin coat. You don't need it to be too thick. I'm covering the whole thing, including my edges here. So just smooth it out, spread it out, nice thin layer. If you see any part of the paper starting to bubble up, that's probably because that part of the paper didn't get glued down well enough. So you can actually, while this medium is still wet, you can take your finger and just smooth out those little bubbles. I don't think I've got a single one because I really made sure that my glue is still wet. So I'm just going to get my edge, make sure I've got my edges here one more time because I want those to be nice and smooth. Alright, so that's what you do. You gotta let that dry. And when that dries, you can use your heat tool with this matte medium as well too. When that dries, you'll get that really nice smooth finish. So I'm going to grab my heat tool and help this along a little bit. Now with the heat tool, you don't want to get too close, and you don't want to leave the heat on one part of the piece too long, or you'll start to get that matte medium to boil up a little bit, and you don't want that to happen. And like I said, this matte medium dries really quick, a lot faster than most mediums, and that's why I love it. So you don't have to do it for too long. Like right now it's already dry. So see, I could touch that whole thing and it's nice and dry. And now I've got that super smooth finish on there. So that's how you do the covers if you want to make a mini album cover like this. And my chipboard is a little warped right now because there's still a little bit of moisture in that chipboard. So you could just bend it a little bit and straighten it out. But once it completely dries, you'll be able to work with it a lot better. So now I want to show you how to assemble the mini envelope. And I'll show you a project that I've done with the romance line. A little mini album project. So for the envelope, all you do is you fold over this little flap here. And you're going to make sure that these 2 points meet those corners there. All the way. And you just fold those in. And open it back up. Same thing with the little flap here. You're going to fold that all the way in. And you're going to do the same thing with the bottom. You're going to fold that up. And then you're going to glue it all together. And I just snip off this little corner. You can leave it on there if you want. It's not going to make much of a difference. But I just snip it off so it's not bulky in that one side. And now we're just going to glue it. Hope I can get some glue out of this glue. Sometimes these get clogged if they get too dry. So I'm getting a good amount of glue on there. Then we'll hold that down. So I just moved mine around a little bit just to make sure it's nice and square. And once you've done that, you could fold this flap down where it needs to fold. And then you've got this cute little envelope. And there's also the little twisty tie closure thingies here. And if I had some brads handy, oh, I do have some brads handy. So I'm going to take some brads here. You just need 2. And some string. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to poke a hole through the middle of that little punch out, that little circle, just like that. And then I'm just going to eyeball where I want to go. I want to go in the middle, and right there is about good. So I'm going to poke a hole through the paper and open up the prongs in the back. And then I'm going to do the same thing with my other piece here. And I'm eyeballing it again. I want it right about there. So I'm going to open this up and put my fingers in there just to make sure it doesn't punch through the front of my envelope. And I've got it in, so I'm going to open up the prongs on the inside. And then I kind of just smash it down. So now you've got something like that. You're going to take some string, you're going to tuck it underneath the top circle, tie it around the brad stem in a double knot. Oops. And then we're just going to snip off this extra. And then you're going to twist it around both little circles here. And that is going to be our little closure. Oops. Kind of curled that paper up, but that's okay. It just adds to the grunginess of it. And then snip off the extra. So now I have a cute little envelope, and this little telegram fits right inside that envelope perfectly. Now I want to show you a little project that I'm working on with the romance novel line. And I haven't decorated the cover yet, but this is what it looks like. I did the same thing with the matte medium and the distress stain on the cover, only I used the pattern paper this time. So when you go through, you'll see all the little embellishments that I've used from the line. And I think I've got the printout in here. So here's the little printout envelope that I stuck in there, in this little pocket. And this little frame here is cut out from the romance novel line as well. So lots of fun, lots of things you could do. And I hope you guys go and download that free digi, and don't forget to ask your local retailer to stop by the Prima booth at CHA and get all the new paper lines. This one's called Romance Novel, so if you get your mini album ready now, you can go to your local store and get the papers later and assemble a little mini album book. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you later.